Radio Évolution Inter.
Mais qu'est moins content, je dis à ma tournée la caille, son événement.
10 ans passés, ça fait longtemps. L'immigration finit par payer comme t'es vivant. Moi pas un millionnaire, pas moi un anti-nomère. L'autre bon pas vient dans la fête, moi obligé d'aller pas marcher, pas regarder hier. Et tout ça fait un mille bob, et là il fait 50 jobs.
Même si moi fais moins l'argent, qu'est moins content. Même si moi fais moins l'argent, mais moins content.
Amis, bonsoir et c'est un plaisir pour nous capable ensemble avec nous asseoir Radio Évolution Inter et asseoir nous capable ouais et nous capable tandis que nous gagnons ensemble avec nous et des invités très spéciaux dans Radio Évolution Inter asseoir et ça fait longtemps peut-être que nous pas attendre voir ça que parler ensemble avec nous dans la communauté haïtienne et mais asseoir nous obligés de faire ça parce que nous pensons que nous arrivons dans un moment qui vraiment est côté en plus besoin pour une décision et pour ça qui peut que j'aime tant de voir ça déjà et c'est Madeleine Toby amis nous Mado et nous gagnons ensemble avec nous quelques et bons amis communauté qui voulaient faire parler ensemble avec la communauté haïtienne mais comme nous connaissons pas gain l'autre plateforme est seule et unique plateforme qui gagne pour nous capables d'arriver en communication ensemble avec la communauté haïtienne c'est à travers Radio Évolution Inter et nous avons utilisé plateforme ça pour nous capables et connecter voix nous connecter force nous pour l'élection qui va venir très bientôt et nous pourrons parler ensemble avec Kandida Sayo qui seulement parle anglais mais à la fait mesure que nous capables pour nous capables et parler ensemble avec eux d'une façon pour eux-mêmes pour capable comprendre pour ça qui pas fin comprendre anglais très bien et comme ça tout le monde capable bien saisir et conversation que nous parlons bien. On va avoir une chance pour capable introduire tête yo nous gagne ensemble avec nous et Howard Sapp ensemble avec et Artis en Demoria et Demoria qui dans candidature pour poste commissionnaire et Mr. Howard pour pour Kongres. OK. So nous allons commencer sur les femmes d'abord. So we're going to start with Ms. Demoria. We're going to give her a chance to introduce herself. So Ms. Demoria, how you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Very good.
Glad to hear that. Well, hello. Good evening, everyone. I'm Demoria. Most people call me Princess. I am running for County Commissioner in District 4. I am a nonpartisan candidate, which means I'm independent. And I'm running against Mr. Brian Hammond, who is the Republican incumbent. He's been in office now going on 13 years, and no one has ever ran against him. So it makes it very important that we have someone challenging the seat, hence why I'm doing what I'm doing. Also, another reason why it's important is because we want someone in the seat who is nonpartisan, as this is a role that should be filled by a nonpartisan candidate, so that way everything remains neutral. We want someone in the position who's going to give back to the community and serve the community in a way that favors the community, not someone who's going to politic, if you will, and essentially keep the money for themselves.
Yeah.
We want the money for the people. We want to serve the everyday people, not insiders. We don't want to network and create our own inside groups where nothing's happening. We want to make sure our children are able to cross the road safely to get back and forth to school. We want to make sure that we have clean water and good infrastructure in the community. And the list goes on. So
Princess.
yes.
Yeah. So we're gonna give you a chance to basically talk more about your objective and things like that. But before we have with us to Mr. Sapp. So Mr. Sapp, would you have please an opportunity to introduce yourself to the Haitian community?
Thank you so much for having us on, and I greatly appreciate that. But again, my name is Howard Sapp, and I am running for Congressional District 19 for Florida, and that would encompass a person going to Washington, D.C., and sitting and advocating for the Southwest Florida community, and that's one of the things that I strive to do. I'm from Southwest Florida. I grew up in Fort Myers. My family is here. I love where I live, and I believe that we need someone that's going to represent us and represent us fully, not just in words, but also in deeds. Far too long we've been without someone that represents us and that fighting for the issues and problems that are plaguing Southwest Florida area in every community, not just one community, but every community. And I think that that's certainly what we need. So that's one of the things that I pledge to do, is certainly fight for the issues, problems, and everything for everybody, not just a particular group.
Very good introduction to yourself. We're gonna go back to Ms. Demoria. So my first question to you, Ms. Demoria. So what is motivated you to become a city commissioner, and what do you consider your biggest responsibility to the resident of the city?
So first and foremost, what motivated me the most is the fact that I'm not a politician. I'm not someone who was prior to this venture involved in politics in any capacity. I'm a neutral party. I'm an everyday person here in the community. And not only is that what motivated me to run for the position, it's also what gave me the confidence to know that I'm qualified for the position. What was the other part of your question?
It was what is your biggest responsibility to the resident of the community that you're running for?
My biggest responsibility to the residents of the community is making sure that their voices are heard and their concerns are acted on. So whatever we can come together as a community to decide as a whole are the focal points of what needs to get done in the community is my responsibility to carry out and ensure that it happens.
Okay, very good. Pretty much, we're gonna go back a little bit. Maybe the people, they really need to know who you are. So tell us a little bit about your background. Are you born and raised in the area, or how long have you been in the community? What do you know about the community?
Well, I've been here in the community for almost 10 years now. I am born to an island family here in America. My parents were military, so I've seen a lot. I've been able to experience a lot of different cultures and different areas and so forth. And being a part of this community for as long as I've been here, and seeing the things that I've seen, it gives me insight to see where the need is.
Yeah. Basically, 10 years in the community, that gives you enough
Absolutely.
time to really know the community, to really screen the community to see what is needed in the community. So you were, just to remind you, were on Radio Evolution Inter, which is the only Haitian radio in the community. So I'm here, I believe we're here just so you be able to connect with the Haitian community, to let them know who you are and your position as a commissioner. So what is the responsibility of a commissioner? This position, because a lot of people probably not really understanding your position and what is your goal, what are you here for? So why should they vote for you?
So there's a lot of reasons why the community should vote for me. First and foremost, I am a part of the community. I'm not someone set aside on a high pedestal that the community members can't reach out and touch. I'm not someone sitting behind a TV screen or, whatever other thing you could imagine that I don't have that they don't have access to. If they need something, they can call me, they can find me, they can commune with me. I'm not hiding behind the scenes where they don't have access to me. The responsibility of a commissioner is a lot. If I were to keep it in very simple, short terms, the responsibility of the commissioner, to keep it short and sweet, is to make sure that our local economy is as stable as possible within the parameters of what we have control over. It's to make sure that it's safe, clean, and able to support the ecosystem of everything going on with the people. So our infrastructure, the building and growth, accessibility to resources, those sorts of things.
Yes. For instance, for myself, I'm a real estate agent. One of the things that I've seen, which is not really a big problem right now, but it's still a thing, about the way landlords are raising prices on tenants. Is this something that you, as a commissioner, that you can look into to stabilize that problem? Is this part of your mission?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Affordability is very important. I have a family here in the community, and not only that, my kids have friends, my family members have children, friends. People are suffering. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be. Our community should be able to sustain those who live here. It should be affordable, not just to the young people, but also our elders. Think about the people who are retired, the people who need the stability. They don't have the income and the funds to continue to keep pace with the changes of the economy, not just affordability in living, but affordability in our food, in our resources, and so on and so forth. It's a very deep topic to get into, but to keep it very simple, I am all for affordability.
Definitely, because that would be one of the main things that a lot of people would want to basically really sure about what could happen to them if in case with renting a property and such and things like that. But my other question to you, give me one second. My other question to you is, what are the main problems that the city of Fort Myers, for instance, is facing right now that is your main concern?
So there are so many, but if I were to choose my priority concerns, it's going to be affordability, accountability, and transparency, because it starts at the top, right? Our leadership, they have to be accountable about the decisions that they're making, and they have to keep everything transparent. One of the goals that I have with becoming commissioner is to make sure that, again, I'm accessible to the people so they can voice and discuss their concerns, and we can, as a whole community, come together and find ways to carry carry those things out and make sure that they're resolved. It's also going to be infrastructure and growth. A lot of people are concerned about that. We need to make sure we have clean water. We need to make sure that our growth is not outpacing our infrastructure.
Exactly. So, as we connecting to the Haitian community, so that's another thing with the Haitian community too. As you know, we're facing a lot of problems with the Haitian community. Do you know one of the main problems the Haitian community is facing right now?
Absolutely. I have a lot of family, so I'm very well versed with that. And I would say personally that the TPS and the status of the Haitian people in immigration,
yes,
that's one of the top priorities in that community. However, this is what I will say. That is very far out of my scope as commissioner. It's not something that I have any influence over.
Sure.
However, personally, I've definitely made it my personal business to go out of my way to make sure that I'm doing everything I can as a public servant to help the Haitian community in that nature. So I have a lot of resources. As commissioner, I make sure that those resources are accessible to anyone who wants to reach out to me and so forth. However, I think that's something here that Mr. Howard, which I can pass the mic over to.
That's exactly what I was thinking, because it probably something that he might be able to more get into.
Absolutely.
About how he can.
Would you like him to answer the question?
Yes, he can answer the question at his own pace. Yeah.
Okay, great. And as far as the TPS piece, that is definitely something that for the Haitian community that they're at the present time facing. Now, a lot of things go along with that, losing that status. So now everything is kind of up in the air, and they're not sure what's actually going to happen. Even from a governmental standpoint, they don't have all the answers. But they're leaving people out in an area where no one actually knows what is what, and not being able to give answers. For the Haitian community right now, that's one of the biggest things, and one of the things, or some of the things that go along with that is, like you were saying, the immigration piece when you're dealing with ICE and when you're dealing with law enforcement and all those, how do they deal with those particular things? And those are things that, even from a local standpoint, we have to make sure that no one can just come in and begin to rip people from their homes and that type of thing, because that's wrong. So when we work with the local community, we work with local law enforcement, when we work with even from the state officials, they're the ones that kind of make those rules from a state's perspective on who can do what and how they can do those things. But we need to make sure that we protect those people, protect our citizens, protect those that are being affected, and not allow them to just suffer, at the hands of, again, some of the issues and problems that have been going on with ICE and with the police and those, we cannot allow those things to continue to happen. In spite of what the government is doing right now, we need to make sure that those things are taken care of first and foremost, and making sure that those our citizens are felt comfortable, because it's not just looking at getting somebody what they would consider getting someone off the street. You're talking about working with people that have jobs, have families, that actually contribute to the community, from the standpoint of from an economical standpoint. So you're talking about nurses and people that give services and people that provide certain things to this community. And the Haitian community doesn't just serve the Haitian community, they serve the community at large. So we have to make sure that if they're going to talk about protecting the community, we need to protect the community. And the Haitian community is a part of the overall community of Southwest Florida. So we need to make sure that we do those things and do right by them. And that's some of the things that I think that we need to begin to look into and make sure that they feel comfortable that they can walk outside and say whatever they decide to do with TPS, making sure that their families aren't attacked, or families aren't targeted, and that type where kids are afraid to go to school, parents or adults are afraid to go to work with issue of not knowing if they're going to make it home. That can't be, and we need to make sure that.
Yeah, that's one of the main concerns. So we do have one other person joined us, which is Miss Sandy Benier, which I believe I have met you before.
I've been in this studio before.
Exactly. So it's like you're back home.
That's right.
How you doing today, Miss Sandy?
I am good. My apologies for coming in a little bit late here.
No, you're not late. They were just too early.
It is too early. It's their fault anyway. No, but I'm so happy to be here to be talking about some of the most important things happening in our community today.
Yeah. So Miss Sandy, so I believe you are running for governor.
State House.
State House.
Governor, he's speaking it into existence.
Someday, not
Yeah,
this time.
we're getting there because we need somebody facing Byron.
That's right. Yeah, I'm running for Florida House District 78. So that covers this Fort Myers area. I mean, we're sitting in the jurisdiction for that. And it's Fort Myers City and then kind of anything else that's called Fort Myers and unincorporated Lee County.
Okay, as a state representative, so what is your main job basically? What would you do for our community and the community of where the you are representing, and especially for the Haitian community?
Yeah, so the state takes care of all the laws. I know that kind of sounds a bit silly, but the federal government brings the money and like the policy framework. The local government gets into the details, but the laws are what happens in Tallahassee. So they're the ones that determine how much funding and what are the structure of our school districts, how our police departments conduct themselves, the way that we enforce our environmental regulations. That all comes from the state. And so it's actually really important for our quality of life to have somebody that's working for the people. And that's exactly what I'm here to do.
So basically you're an intermediary between the state and between the city and Tallahassee, basically.
Between the people that live here in Tallahassee and everything, like the voucher programs for the schools, that was a state law. 287G agreement is state law.
287G agreement. So can you break it?
Absolutely.
Can you
Let's
break it
talk
down a
about
little
that.
bit for the people?
So the 287G agreement is the universal agreement that every police department in the state of Florida must comply with because of state law to cooperate with ICE and Customs and Border Patrol. It essentially deputizes all of our local police officers, even the Fish and Wildlife commissioners. They are deputized to aid and assist in deportations.
Assisting with ICE, yes.
Yep, to assist with ICE. And actually what they have been doing across the region is our local police are the ones that know where folks live, and they can actually make things like stopping traffic, they can do door knocks. Those are things that ICE can't do. So they actually turn
They cannot do door to door.
They cannot, but the local police can. So ICE uses our local police against us because of the 287G agreement. So that's one of my priorities, is to end the universal 287G agreements in the state of Florida.
Okay, so let me try to break. I believe this is one important thing for the Haitian community to know. So I'll try to break it down in Creole for them a little bit. So, nous avons ensemble avec Miss Sandy Benier qui candidat pour state représentative, qui c'est un intermédiaire entre nous observer qui c'est Fort Myers ensemble avec et Tallahassee, et lui parler de un agreement qui gagne, c'est-à-dire un accord qui gagne entre ICE ensemble avec la police qui c'est shérif ou bien la police locale et même police qui dans wildlife qui pour protéger et environnement, tout yo gen pouvoir pour yo capable et travailler ensemble avec ICE. So objectif les mêmes, c'est pour capable mettre un fin dans bagay ça, pour terminer causer et coopération entre ICE ensemble avec la police. Ça c'est un gros objectif li pour capable aider communauté haïtienne, en plus tout immigrant qui a subi des gens de maltraitement ça pour capable aider que bagay ça yo terminé. So je vais faire tout ça capable pour important pour capable de donner en créole et na focus sur anglais. Okay? So yes, back to you.
No problem. I was following along with you. C'est plus important. So, Yeah, I have seen far too many horrific things happening in our community with the
Too many, yeah.
287G agreements. I mean, they intimidated our local county commission, or city council rather, into signing that agreement, even though we did not want to do it. So that's part of the problem that we're having in the state of Florida right now. In the legislature and behind the governor, there's too much power. They can come in and throw out local officials if they don't want to follow something like the 287G agreement. So we need to stop that as well. But I've been against Alligator Alcatraz and the political show.
I believe that place is
It's closed now,
down.
but it cost almost $1 billion. And it came out of our emergency funding. And there's been no accountability for that. There's been a lot of corruption in terms of donors to Ron DeSantis, and they got the contracts for Alligator Alcatraz, and in a year it was gone. So it was,
it was just
money that was set on fire.
Out of nowhere,
And it was a horrible place where people were tortured.
From what I've heard.
And I've had a lot of firsthand accounts of people who had been there and families. Yeah, and I mean, they were torturing people out in the sun, making them do physical therapy. They would have to do exercises in like ankle deep water because of the flooding, poor food, poor hygiene, rampant disease, lack of medical care. And I mean, that's just that actually happens in a lot of the facilities, detention facilities around Florida and around the United States. So we need much better oversight on that. And frankly, we just need to stop trying to deport people and scapegoat immigrants.
Yeah, but I mean, deporting people is basically it's causing a lot of problem in general and in all the industries. It's causing problem, and the main thing, which is families, at the economy of the country and all, because a lot of like retail jobs, the immigrant keep more than 62% of those positions. So think about it, and a lot of most of those positions are being filled by Haitian and other only immigrant from all background, all cultures. So, but before I'm gonna go back a little bit to ask you a little bit about yourself to the people. Basically, I know I know you a little bit because we've talked before, but tell us a little bit about you. What make you feel like or think you will qualify to become a state rep to represent the people in Fort Myers?
So I'm a mom and small business owner, and I'm a fighter for the people. I'm a retired boxer, so I feel like I can get up in Tallahassee and
So
tell them what's up.
You're telling me so don't get in a fist fight with you, right?
Don't do it.
Okay.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
I won't.
But aside from that, I spent 11 years at a local university in the Department of Political Science and Public Administration. I am an expert in good governance. I've published numerous books and peer-reviewed articles on that. I have run a consulting firm helping nonprofits become more efficient and effective around our community. And I've worked with just about every single community leader around here trying to tackle some of the biggest issues that we have in our community. And the reason I stepped into politics is because after a solid decade of that work, I realized that it was the politicians that were the problem. They were the barriers to getting more homes for the homeless. They were the barriers to funding programs that worked because it wasn't run by their best friend and things like that. And so I wanted to break, for lack of a better term, I wanted to break this patronage network.
Definitely.
And that's what I'm still here doing. I am here to call out the patronage network and the corruption in Lee County, across Florida, that spans from, the streets of Fort Myers all the way to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And I am ready to break that network and make our government work for the people because I know how to do it.
So, even if I ask you a question, if Mr. Howard or Ms. Demoria feels like there's one of those questions that entail to their position, they can also intervene and basically add to that question too, if anything that you feel like is part of your duties and need. So one other thing that is my main concern, and I believe it's your main concern too, and everybody's, which is the cost of living in Florida. Cost of living in Florida is oh my goodness, it's crazy. I've been living in the United States for slightly 20 years, more than 20 years, the amount of money that $100 could give me food to today is basically now I don't with $100 I don't even need a shopping cart to spend $100. $100. Yeah, basically.
A hand and an elbow.
Exactly. Back in the days when I just came here, $100 would basically overflow my fridge and everything.
Yes,
So the food pantry and everything. But so you in your position today as a state representative, which laws or obligation that you're gonna create to help? I know things are getting bad. I'm not saying to change things. I'm not saying to go back to 2 years, but to make things ease things on the people. What will you be creating to ease that thing?
So there's two sides to the affordability. It's how much money is going out of your wallet and how much money is going in, right?
Yes, true.
So to help with the money going inside, I'm proposing the raising of the minimum wage to $22 with an annual cost of living increase. That will help make sure that we have more money in working families' pockets so that they can pay their bills. The second part of it is the money that's going out. And for that, I'm proposing a summer sales tax holiday for all Florida residents. So that would be for June, July, and August, and that would be on all taxable items. And you had to be a bona fide Florida resident to be able to get that. And so that will help ease some of the cost burdens through the summer months, which, especially in our area in Florida, with the seasonality of our economy, it will really make a difference.
Okay, so one other thing about, because you mentioned about creating stability on minimum wages. So, in my opinion, raising minimum wage is gonna be pretty much okay. You might say, okay, to pay the people more money. However, for instance, somebody who works at McDonald's, you might say, okay, minimum wage is $17. But in order for McDonald's to pay his employees $17, they're gonna have to raise the price of their burger.
They already raised the price of the burgers, and it had nothing to do with wages. And in fact, the state of Florida, we passed unanimously, over 65% of the voters in the state of Florida passed an increase in the minimum wage that we are seeing right now. So we are at almost that $15 an hour wage. Now, wages have gone up, but the costs of those prices have not been commensurate because of the wages. There also hasn't been the other thing that people fearmonger about the increase in minimum wage is this massive job loss. There's actually been significantly more job loss because of automation and other weaknesses in the economy. So we can pay people a fair wage and make sure that families are taken care of, and we don't have to worry about the other parts of it, because what it really comes down to is these companies, they just make a judgment in terms of their other things, and hopefully it will come out of their stockholder profits and their CEO pay, which has a tendency, especially in the fast food industry, to be hundreds, if not thousands of times the average pay for a worker.
Okay, so one other thing that I want to talk about is about property insurance. So a lot of people, they pretty much who were homeowners or like any type of property that they own, we see property insurance is going up, taxes, all those things are going up. So what are your plan to help the people with all these problems, including myself?
Yeah, and I get it. I'm a homeowner too, you know. But I was here during Hurricane Ian. I mean, we are in one of the most disaster-prone areas in the entire country, and we should probably make policy in response to that instead of just pretending that climate change isn't real. So there's a two-prong approach that I have for this. The first one is to invest in climate change mitigation, so things like subsidies for barriers to stop flooding in your home, and even coastal restoration and things like that that can actually reduce the effect of storm surge and some of the most damaging things when hurricanes do come in. The other part of that is actually, I'm piggybacking off of a plan that David Jolly, who is running for governor, has, which is a blanket disaster insurance for the state of Florida. And what this will do is make it more competitive for more insurance companies to come into Florida and insure places like here and be able to provide competitive wages. Because what we have right now is only a handful of companies will even invest in insuring in Southwest Florida, and sometimes they won't insure commercial buildings at all.
Right.
I've actually gone through this with a local nonprofit where they were not able to obtain commercial insurance at all. No one. No one would insure them, period. And the problem with that is the next time a hurricane comes.
Is it because of the risk? Because
Because of the risk. And so we need things that will mitigate the risk, and a combination of good public policy that mitigates the climate change effects and the effects from the hurricanes, as well as the disaster insurance, which will essentially provide additional funds to the companies as they pay out those disaster claims.
Yeah, and from a federal standpoint, this is something, an area where, I truly believe that working with all legislation, if you have, just say in Congress, congressional, I represent Southwest Florida, and working with those that are the legislators of the state is where you can make sure that those two people or those two entities come together, because from a federal standpoint, I know they've been talking about FEMA and getting rid of FEMA dollars and cutting FEMA dollars. To me, that's a mistake. They just mismanage the funding. They just don't do what they need to do, and that's where I think from a federal standpoint, you can begin to help the states as far as giving funding, giving those resources to the state so that the state can, just like Cindy was saying, make sure that they have the money in place and then go from there. So that's where I think from a federal standpoint, you have a representative that works with your state legislation to make sure that these issues and problems are being covered and taken care of. Right now, we don't have that. You have people up in Washington that's just doing their thing, and they're not looking at what effects certain things are happening with the state. They should be working together. If I'm representing Southwest Florida in Washington, D.C., I need to be representing and talking to the people or the state legislators of Southwest Florida, making sure that what federal issues, with federal dollars, with federal programs, with federal grants can come down to help the state with certain issues and things, that should be something that happens on a regular basis.
Yes, yeah, I understand it. But you were saying something?
I think Demoria wanted to cut in, hopefully on the emergency management stuff that the county does.
Yeah, right. So, first I'd like to say, it's just a burning thought in my mind I want to get out. It's important that everybody, not just the Haitian community, but every single last person who has the ability to vote, it's important that they understand that voting starts here. A lot of the times people don't vote in this midterm election because they're like, oh, my vote doesn't matter. If your vote were to matter most anywhere, it matters here, because the people that you put into position right here at this level are the people who will climb up the ladder and continue to carry out to make sure that what you're voting for, your needs are being met once they get to those higher positions. So if you can get the right people into positions where they need to be here, that's how we make the change higher up at the top. Now, with that being said, and to piggyback off of Ms. Cindy and Mr. Howard here, when it comes to the management of funds and how things are allocated to where and what here in the local community, that is a major responsibility here of the Board of Commissioners. Now, one thing that I will say is it's important to understand that as all commissioners, not one person makes the decision as to what happened. What happens in the community. It's important to understand that there are multiple different members who sit on the board, and as a whole, we collectively vote on whatever matters come to the table. Now, with that being said, each commissioner has a responsibility to look at where funds and so forth are being allocated to make sure that there is a support system financially in the places in which they're supposed to be. Therefore, the funds that are allocated to disaster recovery needs to be managed accountably and transparently. The people should be able to see, not just hear, that, hey, this is where the money is going. When that disaster comes, see the follow through that comes with that, not just all talk, if that makes sense. So as a commissioner, it's my responsibility to make accountable decisions. If I vote for something, I will be responsible and accountable to explaining to the people, the community, this is what you guys asked for, and this is how I applied my vote in the power of the majority of the community's voice.
Exactly. So I know you guys are not basically candidate to serve only the Haitian community, but as we are addressing the Haitian community right now, as they have one of the major concern, including myself, because I do have a family, it might not impact me directly, but it does, because I do have a friend, I do have somebody that I know as a businessman. I do have many clients that I've lost, unfortunately. A member of my band is basically in ICE custody right now. So you guys, how would you put your voice together, or not just to implementing laws and regulation to maintain the safety of the Haitian community, but how would you basically make Tallahassee heard, the Haitian community? What would you guys do?
I would say by raising the vote. The vote is the most powerful thing, in my opinion. That's where it's at. We've got to, if it takes us coming together and getting buses full of people, we got to get them to the polls. People don't understand. That's why I just said, when I started speaking a moment ago, what I said in the very beginning. People have to understand. In the general election, when it's time to vote for the president, it's important, but it's nowhere near as valuable and as important as it is here in the midterm. And even me, not being involved in politics before, I just recently learned that as well, because for the people to be able to relate with me, at one point in time, before I got involved in the political realm, if you will, I thought my vote didn't matter. I've never once, just being transparent, voted in a midterm election. This is my very first time. And that's because I was improperly educated. But now having the education, number one, education is going to be number one. Having the people understand not only why their vote matters, but how it's weighted and how it matters would be, in my opinion, the most powerful asset in making that happen.
Exactly. So how would you guys define or explaining the midterm? What is the midterm, basically, for a lot of people? The word mid actually explain itself.
Right.
But a lot of people still don't get it. Why they doing a midterm and they doing another general election?
Right. The midterm, they base it off of 4 years. Every 4 years, you vote for the president. Every 4 years. Every 2 years, which is of course the mid, you have certain offices that come up for election, and you vote on those too. Because with the some in Tallahassee, some in Washington D.C., those terms are every 2 years. They only serve 2 years. It's a 2-year term.
Okay. So
the midterm is basically from the president every 4 years, and those offices or those seats that only 2 year, then that's what they consider the midterm. And then they have some of the local elections that are only 2-year terms. They have some of those. So you have to understand what seats are actually up and what 2 years are actually up. So, but the midterm is basically just a halfway mark for the president's election.
And I wanted to piggyback off of that, the primary versus the general. For us here in Lee County, that primary election is actually our school board election. That's where the vast majority of our school board members are selected. And so that's this August election that's coming up here. The last day to vote is August 18th, this Tuesday. So that's where the 3 seats that are open on the school board right now, that election is going to make or break that. And it's the lowest turnout election, by the way. So, because people usually aren't paying attention. If they're paying attention and voting at all in a midterm, they're voting in the general election, and that's the one that's in November. But we have a huge opportunity to make a difference for our kids here in Lee County by voting in the school board election coming up on August 18th.
Okay, so pretty pretty much the interview. I'm trying to conduct it as much as possible, but it's kind of like I'm jumping everywhere from immigration to another. But you know, maybe next time I can do a better job.
No, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great. Everything that you're talking about comes around full circle. You're doing a great job.
But it's like I'm jumping from a topic to another one, and I'm trying to be focused on more on immigration as much as possible on the immigration. So
I want in reference to the immigration piece then, you know, because I was going to say this in speaking to that, because you had asked, you know, what can we do, or what would we do as far as that piece is concerned when it comes to the Haitian community. Now, one of the things that's getting ready to happen, and it's two things. I'm getting ready to go up to Washington, D.C. next month. And what I'm going to do is talk to some of those congressional, two specific congressional congressmen that's currently working with the those that represents the Caribbean area, you know, as well as, you know, those that are so from there, I'm going to find out what are they actually doing, you know, when it comes to the TPS, and what plan do they have moving forward, so that if they have a particular plan, if they have something that they're actually doing and they're going to do it from a national standpoint, then what can we from the local standpoint make sure that we're doing to make sure that everything is in sync, that we're doing the same thing that they're doing, so that everybody will be on the same page. So when I come back, I'll make sure that I have that information to say that this is what they're doing in Washington, D.C. So we can begin to do the same thing in Southwest Florida for the Haitian community. Now, one of the other things that I think that we need to do, because I think that, and I know that
Whatever.
Demoria,
Princess Demoria, that's why it look, whatever works.
But you know, when we talk about, you know, money, and when we talk about the economy, when we talk about certain things like that for the local area, the Haitian community, and I think we kind of mentioned it before, the Haitian community provides so much, is such a resource to the local community and the local economy, that if we can look at to say that, look, from the Haitian standpoint, this is what they contribute to the Southwest Florida economy.
Yeah.
This is what they contribute to the, and we can begin to look at it and specifically go to the healthcare industry, the tourism, this industry from you know, construction, all of these things. This is what they contribute to the Southwest Florida economy. If we're talking about getting rid of and trying to move this resource out of, how is it going to affect our local economy? And when you begin to talk about taking away money and resources and trying to find other people to do some of the jobs that the Haitians are doing or whatever, you're going to be hard pressed to find that. So do you want to actually, and they use this term, you know, to bite your nose off to spite your face? If you want to do that, one of the things that they did before with Donald Trump is the fact that when they were talking about getting rid of the Hispanic community, and they start taking them out of the agricultural area, that particular industry began to suffer. And what they did was turn around and try to bring people back to make sure that that particular industry was making sure that they had the people to work those certain jobs.
They're trying to bring it back and
try to bring it back.
Don't even say that.
Exactly. So now you're talking about in Southwest Florida, because we have a ton of, you know, great Haitian residents here that, again, that are serving, that are doing what needs to be done to make this economy work. And you're talking about disrupting that. If we can begin to line by line and precept by precept show them this is what the Haitian community brings to this economy. This is why they are worth everything that they're worth, and so much more. And this is how we make sure that we begin to lift up the Haitian community and say, we're not going for this craziness that's happening.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to protect. We're protecting you know, our residents, we're protecting our community, but we have to let them know that, again, we're also protecting your economy. We're protecting your dollars. We're protecting your businesses. We're protecting your families, because if we take this resource and these workers away, your businesses suffer. Your community suffer. Your bottom line dollar begins to suffer. Is that something that you want to do?
I want to bring it back to the human side, if that's all right. First of all, I want to go back to what you said about, you know, people in your business and in your family that had been affected by this. And I want to say I'm sorry, and I feel for everybody.
Yes.
These immigrants are people.
Yes.
I think the discourse has become so dehumanizing.
Sure.
This is pre-genocide, guys. Like,
Pretty much.
and I'm a scholar in this, so I'm telling you.
Pretty much, yeah.
This is how it starts. You start with dehumanizing language, whether it is the Hispanic community or
The Haitian
community or
yeah.
any immigrants. You start by othering them, and then that allows for increasingly violent behavior. That's why for years I have been very adamant against using this type of dehumanizing language, using violent language and political rhetoric, because I think there were a certain segment of people that were pretty surprised as how things unraveled during Donald Trump's second presidency here. Even though he totally told us what he was going to do. We're going to do mass deportations. We want to do all this stuff. And still, people were shocked when you have National Guard and ICE and Customs and Border Patrol, and you live in a police state where they're using facial recognition AI and flock cameras on every corner, not only just to track the immigrants, because by the way, that's what they were doing first. And now they're tracking every single person who has a political opinion that is not in favor of the government.
Yeah.
We are living in an authoritarian state, and we're just keep sliding down into it. And it started when we allowed the dehumanization of a group of people, and that was with the immigrants. And I going back to the Lake and Riley Act, where they stripped the immigrants of due process that's covered under the Fifth Amendment of our Constitution. Byron Donalds, I actually talked to him in his office about that. I said, are you not worried about what this means for people in our community? Are you not worried about people being stripped of their due process? And he said, they're criminals, it doesn't matter. And I was shocked. And that was in January 2025. That was right after, Trump had gotten in, and we're there.
Yeah.
Right here in Fort Myers, ICE came in and picked up people off the street and left the car in the middle of the street. Now, that's shocking. And it happened that one of our political reporters was standing right there. That's not even the first time I've heard that here in Southwest Florida. I know that it happened in Immokalee, where they pulled the parents out of the car and they left 2 toddlers in the back. I know it happened in Hendry County. Same kind of thing. We have allowed on our watch some of the most horrific crimes against humanity.
Yes.
Because there's a cult of personality that has provided permission for people to do it. And there's one thing that I want to achieve out of running for office and hopefully getting in there, is helping everybody recognize our humanity. And our job as people in office is to make policy to help people. That's it. That's what we're here to do.
Exactly. So those are the things that I want to hear, and I want the community, the Haitian community, the people that are listening to us, to pretty much really know what will you guys do for them, and how can they pretty sure, oh, there's the things that you guys are saying today, and they're really gonna happen, or you guys gonna do your best. I know some of the things that you guys are saying, you can basically lobby for them, but you cannot really do them yourself. But at least we want to see you're wanting to do it. So those are the things that we want to be 100% sure.
Listen, I was 2 seconds away from chaining myself to a bulldozer outside of Alligator Alcatraz, okay? In case you're wondering where my level of commitment is this. And I went to Byron Donalds' office, and I asked him about the Lake and Riley bill. And those are the things that I'm willing to do. I am willing to put my body and myself on the line so that we can all have a community where humanity outstrips money, outstrips power. We're putting people first, and that's what I mean by that.
Yeah, and I know that, like you were saying, from the standpoint of as an individual, can we make these things happen? No, we need other people to help. If you're in Tallahassee, if you're in Washington D.C. But the first step, and I think that Mr. Demoria had said that and said it very eloquently, we need the people to come out and vote. Because we can't do it unless we are in the seat to make the steps necessary to make it happen. So we are putting ourselves there to say, look, you help me get there, I'm going to help us. And that's where we're talking about. It's not just about me or Demoria. I'm not looking for another job or a title or anything like that. I am here because I love people, and what has been happening, it's not right in any stretch of the imagination. So if we can make sure that those that are capable, able, registered to vote, make sure that you get out and vote and get the people in the seat that can make a difference. Because if we're not in the seat,
Yeah, you can't do nothing. So you gotta be there. You have to have the voice. And
Yes.
okay, so of course, any of you guys can answer that question. What is your position on Florida's current immigration laws? I know you guys are against a lot of them. So among all the positions of all those laws that you guys know about, which one of them would you keep? Which one of them would you change or repeal?
Well,
Go ahead. No.
for the immigration laws, here's what I'm going to do it generally. Right now, with any and everybody, because this is something that I know that the Republican Party, they always say, that the Democrats want, everybody to come in and they want just this, that, and the other thing, or whatever. Yes, we need strong borders for our country.
I want that myself.
Exactly.
For my own safety.
Right, exactly. So a lot of things that people are saying aren't actually true. We want to make sure that the borders are safe. We want to make sure that there is due process. And when you begin to take that due process away, that's when you begin to get in those gray areas. So making sure that our borders are safe, making sure that the immigration policy that we have, and it's crazy because when Joe Biden was in office, they had a bipartisan bill that was supposed to be going forward. Donald Trump is the one that said don't pass it because it was because of Joe Biden, not because of it wasn't.
No, it's not politics now. It's personal.
Exactly. So let's make sure that we go back and begin to look at, but the things that ICE are currently doing, those things there's legality to a lot of things. So when we look at ICE and we look at how they're functioning, we need to make sure that, my thing is, yes, we need to abolish ICE, but even from that standpoint, to say that, well, let's not abolish ICE, but you need to make sure that you put restrictions in place, policy in place, and say that this is what we need to do, A, B, C, and D. This is what they can't do, A, B, C, and D. And be very, very matter of fact and very, very intentional about how we set those. Because, no, you don't just run into somebody's house and
snatch, yeah.
Shoot somebody in the middle of the street just because of the fact that you can and you're not feel as though you're not going to get in trouble. So, I'm sorry. I can keep going, but
So let me ask you, right? It sounds like what you're saying is, first let me start here. People come to America for what? A better life, more opportunities. But it seems like in the current state of America, people come to America to have their lives, I don't even know what the word would be.
At this point, I have no idea.
So there we go.
Yeah.
So the thing is that if they're coming to America, essentially to have their rights, their very fundamental, basic human rights stripped from them on American soil, the question is it okay? Because you're an immigrant, you don't have human rights? That's what I see. That's what I hear. That's what the people are experiencing. So because you're an immigrant, the basic laws don't apply to you?
Even the highest profile criminal, even the serial killer has a human right.
But immigrants don't. I'm just stating what I see.
And here's the thing with that. You can come to the United States, look at the United States, and look at the population of the United States, and look at the demographics and everything. There is only one natural person that, the indigenous. Everybody else that came here, you're basically an immigrant. Unless you are an indigenous, American Indian or something. Everybody else, you can do the history.
You immigrated here.
Exactly. You immigrated here. So when they want to start talking about immigrants, let's call a spade a spade. Put everybody. Let's define immigrant. Define immigrant.
Some of them are colonizers, to be fair. But I want on the conversation about the laws.
Yeah.
So I already said we're gonna get rid of 287G, the Universal 287G
Yes,
agreement.
okay.
I also am against the Florida laws that say that if you use any of our public services, that can go against your immigration status.
That's where I was going to be leading to.
And like if you apply for Medicaid or SNAP or those kind of things, that's what actually keeps people from going to the hospital if they're injured and stuff like that. I think that's ridiculous. I think the recent changes to how you get a driver's license and that you can only do it in English and stuff like that actually makes our roads less safe. These are just punitive responses. And the federal government is the one that's supposed to be taking care of immigration. And so I don't see the point of Florida making these laws except for it to be red meat bills for the Republican base.
On that same subject while you're touching it, what about that many immigrants that are losing the CDL just because they are so-called undocumented immigrant?
Yeah. That's one of the major industries where we need more people. And that's one of the bottlenecks, and that was one of the causes of inflation, everybody. I know that not everybody's an economist. I'm a junior economist. I got a minor in it. But that, taking away our ability to ship more products by making it harder for people to get CDLs where we already have a perennial deficit in those jobs, people filling those jobs is just a recipe for disaster. But again, people don't care about that because it feels good to hate. And that's what I mean about the red meat bills. Like these are just. It feels
good to hate. It depends on your desire.
Yeah.
That's feeling good on me.
No. But for the people that resonate with, they're like, but we're gonna get that makes me feel better about myself, right? But they're not jumping to go work in the fields. They're not jumping to go drive the trucks.
Sure.
At all.
They're not jumping on the construction site, and that's a shame. And here, so we're on video, right?
Sure.
Okay, so you guys can see me, right? I've been an illegal immigrant in 2 countries. That's true.
But I have a question for you. But how would you define an illegal immigrant?
Oh, isn't that interesting? So, let's do what we do here. Well, of course, everybody now is illegal in the United States. Right. But what we're really talking about is documentation. It's paperwork. Actually, immigration is paperwork. It's a civil infraction. If you do not have the right paperwork, it's not a crime. It's just a civil infraction. Yeah. So I lived in Taiwan. I first moved to Taiwan on a tourist visa, and I started working. I used to do, visa runs every 30 days, 60 days, or whatever it was, until I got my residence visa and a job and stuff. So the whole first year that I was there, I was technically illegal. Okay. I even had a raid on my school from immigration because I was also not allowed to be a kindergarten teacher there. And then I had to run from the kindergarten to the elementary school as the immigration people were coming up the mountain to our school, and they didn't do anything about it, actually. And in Japan, so I lived 3 years in Taiwan, I lived 5 years in Japan. In Japan, I came out on a student visa. You're not allowed to work at all on a student visa in Japan. But I had to work because I had to pay for my tuition for my master's. And so I was doing everything from teaching English to working at a bar. I was a professional boxer there as well. But wasn't actually technically allowed to do any of that stuff. And one time when I was working at the bar, we had a different law enforcement come up because that bar was not only not allowed to hire foreigners, but they were not allowed to be a dance club, like a bar. Yeah. So when the cops were coming up, all the foreign staff had to take their staff shirts off, and then we had to turn the lights on, and there was no dancing, and okay, so 2 different countries, 2 different situations. It's all paperwork. It was all the difference between a working visa and a student visa.
Exactly.
And not only that, but I actually had interactions with immigration and authorities. And the difference between what happened to me and what happens to people in the United States is I was never told that I was going to be deported. I was never told that I was the one that was going to jail as the immigrant. It was the companies who were either not following the laws or whatever. They were the ones that were concerned about what was going to happen to them. And that's where our policy here in the United States is so wrong. It penalizes and weaponizes the system against the individual migrants. And that's just wrong.
So one other thing again about immigration that I know a lot of Haitian I personally know I'm going through this right now, pretty much with the fear that they have to go out. A lot of people, they scared of taking their kids to school. Great.
I've been burning to talk about that. Yeah, I've been burning to talk about that. So, Mr. Howard, Miss Cindy, and I, and a few other members here in the community have been putting our heads together to figure out how we can support the community and bring a reassurance and a safety, because, you know, it's a cycle. The government knows what they're doing. If your kid doesn't go to school, then they have even more authority and more of a reason to come knock on your door, right?
Yeah.
So one of the options that a lot of people may not be familiar with is virtual school. There is absolutely no reason why a lot of these students cannot still get their education that they're entitled to and be safe in their homes and free of any other remedies, if you will.
If you give me an exception, I agree with virtual school. For instance, for myself, I'm computer literate, but we do have a lot of parents that are computer illiterate. They're not able to manage and maintain those kids, and a lot of those kids, they're gonna get away with things. A lot of those Haitian parents, they don't know nothing. They only know English to make a paycheck. You know what I mean? And the kids, they're gonna get away with things. They're gonna tell their parents whatever they want.
So again, to continue to get a little bit deeper into that, again, we're already 10 steps ahead. We were all kids once. We know better. Sure. So with that being said, it's not just a matter of, oh, hey, virtual school is a solution. It's how do we implement it in a way where it's conducive to the situation at hand. So we're partnering with local nonprofits that might have community centers or space, like for example churches, where we can have people that are volunteering to come out and sit with the kids and do maybe a couple hours a day where they're working one-on-one with them, not only to ensure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing and not telling their parents whatever they want to tell them, but also making sure that they're safe, they're actually obtaining the material, we're breaking those language barriers, and so on and so forth. So it's not just, hey, virtual school is a solution, it's a process of how to
getting into
carry
how
it
they
through.
can.
Right.
Yeah, that's an important thing, because we do have a lot of people that basically they can't go to church, they can't go to school.
We're gonna come to that.
And
That's
all,
the bottom line.
all those things basically, that's one of the main problems a lot of people are facing. The worst case scenario, they're not able to go to work, and you know, not able to go to work, you guys know exactly what's gonna happen. So they're gonna start having some type of papers from the landlord that they don't like, and you know, food, and basically most of the people that I know in the Haitian community, they do have some family member in Haiti that are waiting for them to send some money down there to them. Basically, it's not only affecting them here.
It's a domino effect.
Exactly. So basically, it's not only local; it's international. Because and if you talk to any immigrants, they will tell you that. Because me personally, I work here, I make money here, and I have some people that are depending on me to put a hot dish on the table.
Naturally.
You see what I mean? So think about it. If I'm not able to generate that income, that to pay my bills here and to help somebody else down there, so it's not only affecting me, it's affecting so many people. Yes. So how would you guys basically creating something? But I know you guys basically and will answer that question, but with something that is going on right now, as you guys get elected, so how would you guys work with local community as you're gonna trying to repeal the G47? 287. So this one, that will be one of the things that will reduce or remove the power that ICE has to basically removing those fears.
Speaking as a commissioner or soon to be commissioner, anything to do with immigration, like I said, is completely out of scope. It has nothing to do with the job as commissioner. With that being said, what I can say is that personally, as a human being, as an individual, I'm 100% committed. My social media handle is @electartis, ELECTARTIS. You can find me, you can message me. My cell phone number is 239-222-7781. You can text or call me. My email address is princess@voteartist.com. My website, voteartist.com. You can contact me at any time of the day or night at any of those places. And if I'm available, whether or not I'm available, I promise, reach back out to you. Whatever you need help with, if it's food, we're very familiar and well versed with a lot of the nonprofits and churches in the area. If I can and I gotta come out of pocket, I can buy your family a meal. Whatever it is that you need, I am here as a public servant first and foremost. You come to me, I will do anything in my power to help you. If you want to vote and you're afraid and you don't know how, I'll help you get registered as long as you have the proper documentation to do so. We can do a mail-in ballot. You never have to leave the comfort or the safety of your home. There are so many different resources. You reach out and you ask for help, I will find a way to make sure that. And if I don't have the answer, someone else does.
So you saying all that, you remind me when I used to be a CPI with DCF. So it's like I always go to a home where there's a family need money. There's a family that needs something on the fridge. Because one thing I don't want to do is just go home and I know my kid's gonna have something to eat.
Exactly.
And I know I'm leaving some food.
I can't sleep at night.
And my supervisor's gonna be always like, oh, Toby, you, okay. And they always want to pay me back, but I'm like, I'm not asking to pay me back. But if it's coming from the state, pay me my money back because I couldn't leave those kids without food.
Exactly. It's inhumane.
Yeah. So I actually have worked with several mutual aid organizations here and developed them over the past year and a half since we've seen significant crackdowns and ICE raids throughout our community.
Yeah.
I started a church at one point. I have another organization that we do that. So we do food distributions. We partner with people who are doing food collections. We do deliveries. We help people wherever they are. We've relocated animals. We've, helped people get out. We've helped people recover from sexual assault that they have received at the hands of Customs and Border Patrol.
Yeah, that's
we have a team of people who are on the ground helping folks every single day. I'm the person that goes out and tells the story and tries to raise the funds typically for that. So if you're interested in supporting our work on that, you can go to mercyworksministries.com, and I have a PayPal and I can share that with you as well. We've helped more than 500 people get to safety after adverse interactions with ICE in our community alone.
Yes. So
and I'll just continue to piggyback on that and some of the things that we do. I know that our church, we every Thursday, as a matter of fact, today, they have food distribution. You come by the Mount Olive Church, and they'll every Thursday, I think from 11 o'clock to about 2 o'clock, they're giving food away. I currently am the CEO of Source of Light and Hope Development Center, where we help at-risk youth, and we look at that and not just, there with those youth, but we're looking at, again, partnering with, some of the Haitian leaders in the Haitian community and begin to brainstorm some of the things and some of the ways that we can better assist them. So we're doing things, not just, specifically for a particular, but for the community. And that's what it's all about. It's about the community, but even for the Haitian community specifically, because of the TPS piece that has gone and started, we wanted to make sure that they do know that they do have support and they're not out there by themselves. So at any time and at any point, you can certainly look me up on my campaign website, sappforcongress.com, and we can make things happen. Just like work with Princess, work with Dr. Cindy, and we just make things happen. So because that's what it's all about. It's all about serving the community. No, we're not looking for pay. We're not looking for this or that. We just care about people and want to make sure that people are being treated fairly
equally,
across the board.
Yeah. So I believe today was a great day, and I don't know, we can wrap it up now. So if there's anything that you guys want to add, and I'm surely will bring you guys back here because I believe we do have plenty of time, and we can have a better platform with a better setting. So probably bring some grill, some good.
That'll work.
Yeah,
That'll work.
and you sure you guys, this is home. You guys can come. Just let me know when you guys want to come back. We can set it up so
Okay.
we can have a better platform. So and better setting, better sound. So and everything. So sure. If there's anything that you guys want to add before we leave, anything that I didn't hear, but I believe there's a lot of things I know for sure I didn't touch them because we do have a lot of problems. I would have questions for the whole
We
night,
sit
but
here
trust
for
me.
days
I know.
talking about all the problems. One thing I would like to say is my election is coming up in November, but these two, theirs is just in a few days. So if nothing else, please remember me helping them and the primary coming up here on the 18th. Again, my phone number is 239-222-7781. The email, the social media handles, rewind, listen to it again. We'll get it. We have to vote. If you want to vote, anything that I can do to help you, if you need a ride, whatever it is, call me, text me. We need you guys to vote.
Vote, okay.
Vote.
And I just, ditto that remark, get out and vote, and that's the biggest thing. Get out
Okay.
and vote. But also, just know that even for the Haitian community, you're not in this alone. And we want them to know that you are not in this alone. You do have advocates and people that are here to support you in every way that we can, so we just certainly want you to know that.
I'm the only one that hasn't given my website yet, so CindyBanier.com. That's B as in boy, A-N as in Nancy, Y-A-I. And I'm actually lucky. I'm going all the way to the general myself. So Howard is the one that everybody's going to have to vote for on
Yes.
Tuesday. Howard Sapp for Congressional
Tuesday,
District
yeah.
19. I'm running for House District 78. So you'll be voting for me in November.
Oh, you're all the way to November.
Yep.
So basically, you got plenty enough time. So to basically have
We could have more.
bring you back
conversations.
here,
Yeah.
and I can talk more Creole. So,
Un petit peu.
but today we kind of keep it more in English. So next time we can basically bring better translator and things like that to do a better job. Ça va. Okay, guys, I was very thrilled and kicked to have you guys here, and it's a pleasure for me to have you today, and for sure, like I said, hey. Don't be a stranger. So I'm bringing you guys back here. We're gonna set it up,
Yeah.
and probably next week we can have another conversation and probably bring more people. I like
Yeah,
people.
bring
We
'em.
can certainly do that.
Bring them in. So, and we can definitely have that conversation. So we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys, and you have care of yourself, and thank you for everything.
Thank you. Merci.
Yeah.
I'm